Hi, I'm Marlow Felton.
I'm Chris Felton.
Thanks for joining us, and we're here to answer the question, is it yours?
Yes.
No, is it yours, mine,
Yes.
or ours?
Yes.
What's the saying? What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine? That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about an efficient and effective plan to segregate funds as a couple. We believe it's very important, and it's something that we've done. I think we've done it pretty successfully, right?
Yes. Because of you.
Because of me and my brainstorm.
I get an allowance.
He gets an allowance. We both get allowance.
I pay rent.
Not really. He's not. So, we get asked a lot from our clients, what should we do? How should we run our household expenses? And really, wouldn't you say that most often we run into the what I call the black hole checking account?
Yep.
Because everything is combined into one checking account.
Yeah.
And that's the most common. The good news is that's a sign of a very trusting relationship. However, I call it the black hole checking account because, what do we see? We see, all the money in one spot. And so, you think, oh, hey, there's plenty of money in there. And then money just gets spent without, really having a purpose for the money and money set aside for other important things. So wouldn't you say that that's what you see the most?
No, I actually had an interesting conversation with a couple of people this week, and they were talking about how, a few years ago they were a lot of debt and, they were struggling, and, they came across the Dave Ramsey course, which, he talks about kind of getting your stuff together a little bit, and they were following it, and then his business started rocking it, and they stopped. Oh. Because they got really lazy. And then, I got a client that's a, multi-millionaire, and you want to talk about the black hole. It's unbelievable how much cash flow flows into that house, and how much they just have no clue where it's going. And it is the true black hole. And, healthy respect for money is what you and I always talk about, and what you focus on expands. But people with their relationship with money, if it was just kind of like, yeah, it's there, no big deal, right? You always talk about that with your marriage. If you treated your spouse like that, your spouse would be hanging out for too long. Right. Your money's not going to hang out for too long either. So anyway, but the whole black hole, my Lord. It happens at all levels of wealth. We've seen
right. Yeah. So then the other situation we see a lot is the keep everything separate. And this is really common with second marriages. It's mine. The keep everything separate. So as Chris drinks his coffee.
It's coffee. We're having a conversation.
Okay, so keeping
coffee talk.
Keeping everything separate really doesn't promote a lot of trust. And there's also not any accountability often. So that could be extremely dangerous for a lot of other reasons, right?
Well, trust is, if you don't trust them with the money, what else?
Right.
It's like you're going to not trust them with anything. And then what happens is that's what you're projecting out, then you're just going to find and search for evidence for situations of where you just can't trust them. So you're always going to find what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
And so, if you don't, I know you've talked to a lot of couples with that, but that normally doesn't lead to a long-lasting relationship.
Right. It's very rare, I will say. So if you're just joining us, I'm Marlow Felton.
I'm her sidekick.
This is my sidekick, Chris Felton.
I'm her sidekick.
Anyway, we're talking about, is it yours, mine, or ours? And we're talking about the black hole checking account. So the put everything in one checking account, that's usually a disaster. High level of trust, however, no accountability with money, and money just seems to just be spent because it appears that there's more than there really is for things that are important. And then there's the keep everything separate. So usually not as much trust going on. Also, not a lot of accountability. And the accountability is a really important part when you're talking about segregating funds. So what we recommend is some form, and we're not dictating any specific system. We can share what has worked for us, but what we find works best is some form of yours, mine, and ours, so that you segregate funds into different accounts with different purposes. So what that could look like is a household account where only the core household expenses come out of that. And what goes into that is all the household income, all of it. Whether, one spouse makes more than the other, it all goes into there. And then from there, the core, the mortgage, the utilities, and, all that fun stuff that needs to be paid. And then from there, accounts are set up to segregate for different purposes. So for short-term, mid-term, and long-term purposes, long-term obviously would be retirement, but maybe mid-term or short-term would be a new house or a car or something like that. So you've segregated the funds for that. And then also my favorite.
Give some coffee.
I'm getting a little bit I feel like I was going to start coughing, but I'm not. But just, he's making fun of me. But so.
It's fun when you get all choked up.
I know. He likes talking about. I wasn't starting to cry. I just got a little.
I love it when we segregate.
I know, it's so cool. But anyway, so we have the fun funds. So we each have an account set up for our own personal use, because at the end of the day, people, we realize you are individuals with needs and wants, and it's important that you have some liberation with some money. And that's why we always segregate out that money for each other. And yes, it's the same amount each month for each of us that we can use for agreed upon expenses that we want, and things that we want. So that way we can spend some money without any guilt and not feeling like we have to go to the other one and ask permission, because nobody wants that, right? I mean, right, ladies? Nobody wants to go to their husband and say, oh, can I buy a new pair of shoes? No.
But I know a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, I know. Please, yeah. I don't think that that's the best, for a healthy relationship. So this really takes all that out of there. So if I have the money in my fund and I want the shoes, then I go buy the shoes. It's as simple as that. If there's not the money in there, then I don't buy the shoes or whatever. I have to wait till the next month until my fund gets replenished. And same for Chris. He has to do the same thing, and he doesn't want to come to me. And I'm sure a lot of guys out there certainly don't want to go to their wife and ask them if it's okay if they go play golf or go to happy hour or something like that.
Guys just normally do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then that just really creates this. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So, we are recommending some form of yours, mine, and ours, and that funds are segregated. Because there's a lot of power in segregating funds and, making sure that there's money there for different purposes. And, and I'd like to talk a little bit more about this, and that is, the money vortex. Because we talk a lot about creating a money vortex, and that's the power of segregating funds. So if you have a goal or a dream that costs money, then, create an account for it. We've done that every time we've wanted a new house or, a major purchase, because what will happen is you'll start finding the money to fill the account if you set up a separate account for that. And that's really one of the powers of segregating funds, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah, and it's people lose the money game like $5 and $10 at a time. I mean, that's what I did for years. And if you don't have the money allocated over here, then you just do this unconscious spending, and you don't know if your $4,000 vacation. I mean, I know someone right now that's out on a massive vacation, and I know they shouldn't be doing that, right?
Right. We know plenty of people that are doing that,
and it's just because it's a family tradition, but they didn't really hit what they needed to go on it. And if they would have just said, well, if we hit this, we go. If we don't, we don't. And so that money at $3,000 or $4,000, compounding it, whatever percentage, but it's going to double to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64. Like, people don't understand that. And so the vacation is actually robbing from, kids' child or kids' college fund.
Right.
That
Retirement,
is just sitting
all
there.
kinds of things.
It's got a few $100 in it. Hopefully they're not watching this video, but you know who you are. Anyway, but no, I mean, that's the part is just, if they would have had a game plan of getting that money, allocated correctly, and that can be, 10% or more long term. 10% tithing. You can save and give, and then, whatever percentage in your fund account, and that's the key, is you can do all of it. You really can.
Right.
If you just get your crap together.
Right.
But, if they would have allocated the fund account, they would have stopped all this stupid, I'm a little mad at them. Anyway.
Wow.
All the stupid, like, little things that they did throughout the year that if they would have connected that's the cool part about the fund account, is there's certain things that I want to do and travel I have to do with my kids. And so I know how much money that's going to take. So I avoid these, $100 happy hours and, $50 here and all that, because that bigger thing is
$100 happy hour. That's one hell of a happy hour.
Whatever. You and your girlfriends do that like once a week.
Whatever.
No, so it's just, it's so important, and that's, people are like, well, I can either have fun or I can save, but I can't do both.
Right.
And no, you
can do both.
You do both and do all of it if you have your stuff together.
Yeah, and the point is really having a purpose for the money, and when you have a purpose through the segregation, it's much clearer when you're taking away from your kids' college, your future retirement, your future financial stability. It's much more obvious, and that's why it's so incredibly powerful. And really the fund, having that money that you can spend without guilt, is very liberating. And even if someone's single, they should be segregating funds and having a fund for themselves. But it's all about, it's all about a purpose. And, what Chris mentioned earlier is when you have that account segregated, you're going to make different choices, because at the end of the day, it's really about changing the financial choices you make every single day. And so if you have a dream of, buying a new house, and you look at that account and there's only $5,000 in there, and you need, 20 or whatever for a down payment.
20.
I'm making up numbers here.
It's the 1960s.
But anyway, so that you then you're going to be like, well, okay, maybe we won't go out to dinner tonight, or maybe we won't take that vacation because we want that money to go in here because this is something that's really important to us. And let's talk about Christmas. How many times do people rack up credit card debt for Christmas, and then they're paying stupid interest on their credit card debt because if all they did was just set aside $50, $100 a month throughout the year, they could have a decent Christmas rather than going into debt, or whatever that amount is, and and the vacations and things like that. But yeah, the example Chris gave earlier. We see people take vacations a lot. We do know who you are. That should not be taking vacations. And they really, they're just stealing from their future financial stability. And really, it just takes some segregating of funds, because we are all for people enjoying their life and having vacations. However, if it's not there, you have to delay. So maybe it's just a delay of what it is that you want. It's not a denial. It doesn't necessarily mean, that's right.
Delay is not a denial.
So delay is not a denial, and that is a good way to look at it if you haven't reached the amount that you really need, so you're not spending unnecessarily. I've put off a lot of expenses because I knew it didn't make sense for us.
But having a bunch of money saved and having your stuff together and your cash flow, and you're flowing and you're moving towards, that's better than any freaking vacation I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah,
so
seriously, that feeling is way better than a vacation.
And so people want to go on vacation sometimes because they they want to get away, but often they have to take their broke self with them.
Right, and come back with their broke self.
Come back, and just getting this stuff together and getting it dialed in, and it massively increases your confidence and your well-being and your peace of mind. And I've never been on a vacation that really did that. So anyway, we sound like vacation Scrooges.
We just got back from vacation.
Yeah, we took one. But we felt better down there because we knew we had our stuff together.
We had our money set aside and all that. So, all right. So that's hopefully we've made our point here with segregating fun.
Felton suck.
No, we are fun. We are fun. We are so much fun.
We're so much fun.
But if you
get your stuff together first.
Yeah, that's right. Segregate funds. Set aside money for those special desires. The fun funds, so that you each have money for fun. You have money for the vacations. But remember, if there isn't money in there to do it, then it doesn't make sense to do it. And also remember, a delay is not a denial. You're just going to delay.
That's good.
Yes, it is good because I said it. It's good. It's not. So think of it that way rather than feeling like you're depriving yourself, because otherwise you're just robbing from your financial stability. So we are excited to share with you our yours, mine, and ours thoughts with you. And also, we have a free webinar for you to access. It's absolutely free. It's called the 4 Steps to a Financial Transformation. It's one of our best talks. It's our signature talk in a webinar format that you can access for free and listen to it over and over. So click the link, and we hope you enjoy that and benefit from that as well. So take care, and we will see you again next time.